The darkness. The sun doesn't shine every day. The storms will come. There are times when the nights will be long and dark and you will be alone. There will be times when the darkness seems to consume everything. But don't let it consume you. Don't let it consume you. Even in the darkest times, even in the strongest storms, even when the sun is blotted out and the world is falling apart, the darkness cannot extinguish your light. You. Your will. Your determination. No matter what is happening, no matter how hard the fight is, as long as you keep fighting, you win. Only surrender is defeat. Only quitting is the end. Because the darkness only wins if you let it. Do not let the darkness win. Fight. Fight on. To fight against the darkness is to win. So fight on.
It's time to change, and you know it. We've been this way for a while. We're set in our ways. We continue to be someone with a short fuse, someone who eats poorly, someone who can't stick to an exercise routine, who has a mean streak, who is too timid. Maybe you don't like to try very hard, or you don't think you're good enough. And how is that working out for you? Why do you keep going down a road that leads to nowhere? This is the definition of insanity, they say. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. There's nothing sadder than a person who can't grow, who can't turn over a new leaf, who cannot take a leap of faith forward into the dark. You've got to be willing to change. You must change. You must get better. Not later, not eventually, but now. And what if this year, what if 2025 could be the year you lived up to your potential? How would that compound in the years to come?
Look, winning is easy. Winning is easy. High fives all around, up on the podium, hands in the air, that's easy. Walking back to the locker room alone, that's a challenge. When you have put in so much effort, when you have trained for hours and hours and hours, and you have sacrificed so much, it's actually a beautiful thing when that happens. Because now you get the real test. Now you get the real test. I know it's terrible. I know it hurts. But it's a beautiful thing. Because that is where the real growth begins.
This is not who you are, and you know that. You know that. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And it's not even like you want anyone to pity you, because then you just feel like a charity case, something to feel sorry for. And remember where you're going. We will not stop until we get there.
Stop sitting around waiting for the perfect opportunity. While you're sitting on your hands waiting for the spotlight to shine down on that one golden opportunity, you are missing hundreds and hundreds of opportunities to become better every single day. You think the path is just going to light up beneath your feet and God is going to come down and say, here it is, my child, your one golden opportunity to be the person you want to be. That's not how it works. In reality, when you get knocked on your ass, that is your opportunity to build resilience. When you feel weak, that is your opportunity to become strong. When you see a problem in the world, that is your opportunity to become the person that people can rely on to fix it. Where would you be if you seized every single one of these opportunities that were presented to you? Who would you become? You would most likely become exactly who you're meant to be.
This isn't a part-time gig. This isn't punch the clock and go home for the day. You don't get weekends off. No. Here, there's no such thing as a weekend. This is an everyday gig. Every day is a Monday. and you might not like that. Me, I love it. To me, every day is a beginning, a new day, a new week, a new shot at life. An opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy. Today, I'm taking scalps. I'm putting the pressure on. I'm the aggressor. I'm on the attack. And of course, I will get tired. I will get beat up. I'll get knocked down and drained, and I will have some bad days. But I will not stop.
The difficulty of the path that you're on is the very thing that gives it value. The harder it feels right now, the more valuable it is likely going to be on the other side of that thing. So next time you tell yourself that this is hard, tell yourself, good.
Can do. All it takes is determination. You'll get your chance. Sometimes it doesn't come as quick as you'd like, and there's a lot of hurdles, but you will get there. You have to believe in that. I fear no man. No man can hold me down.
Don't go back. The brain protects you, but protects you so much, it doesn't allow growth. So the brain is an amazing thing, but the brain controls you. You must control it. You must take power over your own mind, or your mind will guide you into all the soft spots, soft places that your brain wants to live in. This is where I want to stay. I'm peaceful and wants to stay very peaceful and away from scarring.
So we training here tomorrow, 5 a.m.
Nah, I got other plans.
You mean you want to go to Philly?
No. Listen, you want to change things in a big way, and you need to make some big changes.
It gets easier.
Huh?
Every day it gets a little easier.
Yeah?
But you gotta do it every day. That's the hard part. But it does get easier.
Yeah, ambition is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because it gives you that drive, it gives you that push, that oomph that you need in order to take those first steps, which are the hardest whenever you're pursuing something ambitious or difficult to obtain. So it's good in that sense, but it also never ends. Like, I find that as I accomplish more things and reach new milestones, I find myself to never be satisfied. If you don't have that ambitious drive, that almost like, you can't think totally logically. If you thought completely logically, what's the most likely outcome? You wouldn't get past step 3, you know, like, and there's a gazillion steps that come after that you need to do. So there's part of you that needs to have that in order to pursue this kind of life, to keep reaching new heights and really remove any limits that you might have had on yourself.
I think that the people that are discovering how to unleash their greatness are people who have the mental resiliency and the courage to face failure, that you will fail your way to greatness. That most people allow their fear of failure, 80%, allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. When you're willing to fail again and again and again, when you make up your mind to become unstoppable, when you make up your mind to become a no matter what person, then that will then give birth to a part of yourself that you don't know right now.
Success is built in the shadows. It's the early mornings, late nights, and the hours of grind nobody claps for. The boring, repetitive, unglamorous work that others skip. While they're talking about goals, you're chasing them down. Do what's necessary, not what's noticed. The results people envy come from the sacrifices they'll never see. The big win doesn't just show up. It's earned in the deathly silence. Put your head down, do the f***ing work, and emerge from the shadows with a story worth telling.
Keep on trying to quiet your mind, and I'll keep on hoping that it never works for you. The tireless mind is a heavy burden, but you know what we call the people who bear the most?
the strongest, that mind ought to never stop racing, because this world is full of people whose minds stand still.
I know we've had some difficult times lately. We've had to struggle just to get by. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. There is a simple honor in poverty.
There's no honor for me without the Avatar.
Jocko, even if you did capture the Avatar, I'm not so sure it would solve our problems. Not now.
And there is no hope at all.
No, Jocko. You must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road and you surrender to your lowest instincts. In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself.
And you will get there, man. I promise you. The journey may seem long, and there really is no end to this, you know? Like, I think the purpose in life, the thing that we're all after, is to reach our full capabilities in mind, body, and spirit. And what that looks like for each individual will be different, you know? But at the end of the day, the fulfillment we get is through improvement, it's through progression. That's why a trophy has no value unless you had to work for it, unless you had to compete for it.
It's no hardening without pain. But in the first moment where you hit the pain and you run away from it, then you're never going to get hard. Look deeply into the mirror and see who you are. I think many people can't do it because then everything comes up. This face, these eyes, they show everything. Nothing is forgotten. You lie to yourself, you won't progress.
I would say make a resolution to be a better person now. Make it a resolution of discipline to get better, smarter, faster, stronger, healthier, more productive, less agitated, to eat cleaner, live more, to go and do. Do all those things. But don't do them on New Year's Eve. Don't do them on New Year's Day. Do them now. That resolution of discipline to work and follow through and maintain your will. That'll result in the freedom that you're looking for. Yes, you heard it once again. Discipline equals freedom.
I would have to tell myself, you don't need more sleep. You just need a better reason to get out of bed. And so I think the point isn't to avoid suffering. It's to find something worth suffering for. Because no one gets to the end of their life and says, I wish I'd played it safe. You're going to die. And I think it's just about how hard you're willing to fight to not let your dreams die with you.
You choose to see the events of life, neither good nor bad, just objective, just reality. Yes, that's part one. But part two is the most important. It's the making them good. It's seeing it not just as new, but as a new opportunity and then making good on it. As Stockdale said, making it something that in retrospect, you'd never have traded away.
We're so afraid of being vulnerable. We're terrified of being honest. We're so used to being judged and being held to a standard that society sets for us that we don't give ourselves permission to even ask these questions, let alone answer them.
Decide what you need to do and act.
foundation of all strength is pain.
Embrace pain. Pain is something to embrace. If there's no resistance to you, you're not going to get anywhere in life.
The purpose of a goal is not getting it anyway. The purpose of a goal, who you become. Who you become is going to make you happy or it's going to make you sad.
Because some people think when you lose a dream or you lose something, that it's over. But you didn't lose who you are. You lost that thing, that placement. Life might not be adding up to what you wanted to add up to, but at least you have every single day is a new beginning. Every day is a new beginning. And certain days aren't gonna look like you want them to look, but at least you have another chance. Like 150,000 people die every day. It's 55 million people a year. If you're looking for a blessing, realize that's your blessing. You have another opportunity at life. The only way you're gonna get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. Realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story.
Most people think the things that are temporary are the permanent things. The temporary passing, I'm going through a breakup. You don't understand that in a month you're gonna be okay. When you're in a low, when you're feeling bad, you think that thing you're feeling is how you're gonna feel forever, which is what makes it feel worse. All of your emotions are temporary. They're passing things. So most of our pain comes from believing, I believe, that we should keep holding on to these things that are really heavy in our lives.
We're constantly looking at life. What is it? What is it? Where are we? Look how interesting. Look at different cultures, different beliefs. How do they come to that? How do I feel about that? What do I think? It is a daily adventure. You have your voice. It's there. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Create. Don't let anyone stop you.
When you can realize that your worst days were truly your best days. When you can realize that every human being goes through pain and injustice, some more than others, but everyone goes through it. Everyone's had someone be completely unjust to them. Everyone has had someone hurt them who they loved and cared for deeply, or they trusted, or they looked to for support or love. It's part of how we grow spiritually. There's no possibility to build muscle without something you have to lift. And if you don't lift it, it will crush you. And if you lift it, it will be painful. It's not easy to lift those things. But the day in which you finally find inside yourself the story and state that finally makes you no longer be willing to be pressed down by your past, that's the day your life not only changes, but you also now have the ability to give the gift to others. And the most beautiful day, though, is the day when you go, it wasn't for all that I hated most, I wouldn't have what I love most. Realizing that there was a meaning in all of it and that it served something greater than just little me.
We've lost everything. We're free to do anything.
Being alone is the crucible where your true self is forged. It's a place where the comforting noise of the world fades away, leaving you exposed, raw, and vulnerable. In this space, there's no one to distract you from the truths you've been avoiding. No comforting lies to shield you from your deepest fears. But this isolation is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally. It is the fire that tempers your soul, the darkness that sharpens your senses, the silence that forces you to confront what you've been running from all your life. When you stand alone, the world seems vast and unforgiving. Every shadow seems to whisper of failure, every echo a reminder of past mistakes. The fears that others drown out with noise and distraction become amplified in the silence. They take on a life of their own, wrapping themselves around your thoughts, squeezing your heart until you feel you might break. But it's in these moments, when you are stripped of all pretenses, that you discover who you really are. You see, fear is not something to be avoided. It's a challenge, a test, a force that, when faced, transforms you. Fear is the crucible of growth. And when you stand alone in the darkness, you have no choice but to face it. You might tremble, you might falter, but you will not fall. Because in solitude you find the strength that has always been within you. The strength that is so often buried beneath layers of comfort, distraction, and the expectations of others. When you are alone, there's no one to catch you if you fall, no one to guide you when you're lost. But this is where you learn the most important lesson of all. You don't need anyone else to save you. You are your own hero, your own savior. You learn to pick yourself up when you stumble, to navigate the darkest paths by the light of your own will. Every time you face a fear and conquer it, you grow stronger, more resilient, more unstoppable. Being alone is not a sign of weakness, but of immense power. It's a declaration to the world that you are enough, that you have what it takes to stand on your own 2 feet, to fight your own battles, to carve out your own destiny. The world will try to tell you otherwise. It will try to convince you that you need others to survive, that you must conform, blend in, become part of the herd. But the truth is, those who stand alone are the ones who truly live. They are the ones who experience the full spectrum of life, who taste the bitter and the sweet, who feel the pain and the joy in their purest forms. In your solitude, you become attuned to the subtleties of your own mind. You learn to listen to the whispers of your soul, to understand the fears that once controlled you, and to transform them into fuel for your journey. You become the master of your own destiny, the architect of your own future. The fears that once seemed insurmountable become mere stepping stones on your path to greatness. But make no mistake, this path is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. There will be times when the darkness seems too overwhelming, when the silence feels like it will consume you. There will be moments when you question your own strength, when you wonder if you can go on. But it's in these moments, when you are pushed to your limits,
that you discover the depth of your resilience. You find that you are capable of far more than you ever imagined, that your spirit is unbreakable, that your will is indomitable. Being alone is not about isolating yourself from the world. It's about finding the strength within yourself to face the world on your own terms. It's about embracing the silence, the darkness, the fears, and using them to forge a path that is uniquely yours. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be. Strong, fearless, and unstoppable. So stand tall in your solitude. Embrace the darkness that surrounds you. Face your fears with the knowledge that they are not there to break you, but to make you stronger. Know that every moment of isolation, every fear you conquer, is a step towards becoming the person you were destined to be. You are not alone because you have no one. You are alone because you are strong enough to be. And that is your greatest power.
Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men. Find it easier to live in a world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. Impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. Impossible is not a declaration, it's a dare.
So I know why you go on Instagram. I know why because you just have the time. You have the time because you don't want to put that time into bettering oneself.
You start going after your goals and you start achieving them, people will start looking at you differently, and secretly they will start hoping that you fail because it will make them feel better about the action they have never taken.
Progression is an ugly road that leads to a beautiful place. And the sad thing about that quote that's true is most people never get to that beautiful place because they never persevere. They give up before it's their time. They quit before they see their breakthrough. That's why I love a breaking point, because at a breaking point, that fork in the road, you got a choice. You can break down or you can break through. And when you choose to break through, those adversities strengthen you. All those things that have come against you, it strengthens you. That's why you gotta find a meaning, a mission that carries you through this stage of resistance.
Get started and stay consistent. You have things to share with the world that only you can deliver. But you'll never experience them if all you replay in your mind are doubts and excuses on why going after your dreams now isn't a good time. You have what it takes. Get out of your own way. Don't count yourself out yet. Everything you want to achieve is possible. It might take time, effort, and discipline, but it's all within reach.
So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. You've got to start walking because the perspective's not going to change. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can walk in the other direction. And that's going to be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death.
The only thing in life that stands between you, everything you've ever wanted to do, is doing it. Not preparing to do it, not scheduling time to do it, not telling people you're gonna do it, not reading books about how to do it, not watching videos about how to do it, but instead actually doing it.
There's a saying, there's a quote that I really believe in, that when the pain of the current reality becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when we change. So like when the pain becomes so intense that it's greater than the fear that you have of the unknown, then you'll go into the unknown. You can stand there at the door looking at this abyss, but when it becomes so painful that you walk into that, that's when the change happens.
but there's a hell of a lot more to you than you think, like way more. Enough to cope with the trouble of the world inside you. There's enough to cope with the trouble of the world. And you, if you had enough courage, you could let that out. Enough courage and faith, you could let that out, and everything would be better because of it.
Only fail because they get caught up into what winning was. You're supposed to fail at some point in time. You're supposed to get knocked down a couple times. You're supposed to lose. That's how you learn. Perfection is only a word because imperfection was discovered. You can't be perfect without knowing what imperfect is. You have to experience imperfection at some point to go, now I'm perfect.
I feel something is shifting. Some people are not strong enough to adapt to the change. Some people don't know how to put it into practice in order to go with the change. There will come the time, and it's not going to take long, where a natural separation is going to take place. A natural separation. The ones that are able to read the signs, that are able to go with what is happening, to adapt to the changes this world is bringing to us, they will move on to another world. Other people that are unwilling, unable, maybe incapable of adapting to the coming changes. It is simple like this. They will stay with the old world, which is about to end.
An eagle flies at a certain altitude, and the only other bird flies at that altitude is another eagle. So if he find himself flocking with pigeons, he may be flying too low.
One of the things limiting you from your income, your impact, a world-class life. You care too much about what people think about you. You can be world-class, you can fit in with the world, you don't get to do both. One thing I've learned is everyone has an opinion. Why let the opinions of other people deny you from a life that will make history?
This is my question to you. When you gonna free yourself? How long are you gonna stay in this pain expecting change to happen in your life? How long are you gonna stay in this situation expecting things to change in your life? You've been here for the last year, the last 5 years, the last decade, staying in the same mess, accepting the same mess, and wonder why you're stressed. Wonder why you're not happy, wonder why you're not fulfilled, wonder why you're not experiencing the life that you deserve to experience. When you gonna free yourself from the pain? When you gonna free yourself from settling for less? Because I want to tell you right now, you don't have to accept it. I know you know that, but I need you to feel that, understand that. You don't got to accept it. You don't have to stay where you're just tolerated and not celebrated. You don't have to stay where you're not happy. You don't have to stay where you're not being bettered. You don't have to stay where you're suffering. You can free yourself from it.
You've been through a lot this year, and it wasn't for no reason, and I can promise you it's not wasted. And you learned a lot of lessons this year. Lessons that you might have thought that you didn't need to learn. But going into this next year, you need to realize how strong you've become. You have learned lessons and you have become strong. And now you have the ability to do something great, to carry something great that you might have not been able to do a year ago. You've learned a lot through the pain. So are you gonna sit in the pain, or are you going to bring something beautiful to life?
The hardest part is the uncertainty that all your sacrifice will be for nothing, that we give up everything now for nothing later. But then you remember the life that you walked away from to pursue your dream, and then you realize that there's no going back, and so you keep going. Everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of 10 years of uncertainty, rejection, and suffering. It just comes down to wanting what you're after more than you hate all the things that you have to do to get it. And so despite all the hardship that you're going through, you just got to believe with all your f***ing heart that you're going to make it.
The day is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. The vine still clings to the moldering wall. But at every gust, the dead leaves fall, and the day is dark and dreary. My life is cold and dark and dreary. It rains, and the wind is never weary. My thoughts still cling to the moldering past, but the hopes of youth fall thick in the blast, and the days are dark and dreary. Be still, sad heart, and cease repining. Behind the clouds is the sun still shining. Thy fate is the common fate of all. Into each life some rain must fall. Some days must be dark and dreary. We live in the past a lot of times. We live in the past without regrets. We live in the past with the regrets of what might have been, but is not. We live in the, and you know, life gets weary, and it seems rainy, and it seems dark and gray in the clouds, and that's all we see. And we need days in real life, we need days where it's chilly, and it's raining, and the things that we had planned to do, we can't do, and the things that we thought were going to happen today aren't going to happen. But we need the rain. But if you have, whether in your life, in nature, if you have just non-stop sunshine, you wind up with a desert. And you wind up, your life is a desert. And everything gets burned up. And into every life, a little rain must fall.
What if the truth was that you're greater than you think? More powerful than you know, more unlimited than you could ever dream. If that was the truth, that you are the creator of your life, you have to start. If you believe that to be the truth, then you have to believe in yourself. And your belief in yourself must be earned. It must be earned. And the only way that we can believe in a future is when we feel the emotion associated with it. And so you're giving your body a taste emotionally of the future. And the stronger the emotion you feel, the more you remember that future. And you literally are embossing the circuitry for you to believe in it more.
Don't be ashamed of your effort. They can't stand being reminded of the thing they're capable of, but resist actually trying. People will try to put the same limitations on you that they put on themselves. Don't mistake their insecurities for your ceiling.
So desperate to figure out how to convince people that there is no loss in going for it. That, yeah, you might get made fun of and you might have it in your own mind, but trying to figure out how to make people drop that fear, going and building a business for themselves. Nobody wants the rejection. Nobody wants to lose. It's going to lead you to a place where you're not going to win.
Get serious. That's number one. 10 years from now, you will surely become someone. The big question is, who?
You must overcome fear to step into your potential. Understand that fear is not the enemy. It's a sign that you're on the edge of growth. Reframe the way you look at fear. Reframe the way you look at fear. So often, when we feel fear, it makes us stay stuck or resort back. But you need to start viewing fear as an indicator of the direction you need to move, right? Fear is a pulling force from your higher self saying, go that way. The reason you feel fear is because you have to step into the unknown. You have to step into the discomfort, right? You have to step away from the things that are known, from the comfortability of where you're at, right? That's not easy, right? And your ego is gonna do everything in its power to stay comfortable. So it's gonna bring those emotions of fear, but don't view those emotions negatively. Fear is not a negative thing. Fear is a driving force. It's a pulling force to move in that direction. It's a guide. And when you start viewing fear as a guide rather than a hindrance and an enemy, it changes the way you navigate this journey. Come on, man. Changes the way you navigate this journey. George Adair says, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear.
When people describe
the characteristics of winners, here are some of the things they say. They outwork the competition. They are focused. They are resilient. The one I've seen in the best of the best that no one talks about is this. They'd rather be hated for who they truly are than to be loved for what they're not. Think about that.
Today, I want to talk about the most powerful tool you have in your arsenal. The power to never give up. Life, as we know it, is a series of peaks and valleys, highs and lows, victories and setbacks. It's a journey that tests our limits, challenges our resolve, and demands resilience. Imagine you are on a path towards your greatest dream. You can see it in the distance, but the journey is fraught with obstacles. There are moments when the path seems impossible to traverse, where the challenges feel insurmountable, and the temptation to quit looms large. It's in these moments, my friends, where your true character is forged. Every setback, every failure, every hurdle is not a roadblock, but a stepping stone. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger.
The thing is that people, maybe it's you, are waiting for this perfect moment, but it doesn't come. It happens the moment you decide that you're fed up with waiting and decide to take action. And it only becomes the perfect moment when you look back on it.
When you want more for yourself, when you want more out of life, when you want more success, when you want more wins, everyone thinks they gotta add more. To get more, you need to add more. Well, let me tell you something. The more you want to achieve, it's not always about the addition. It's more about the subtraction. It's more about the delete.
Every single person that's ever been successful, every single person that's ever made something of themselves has at one point or another made a mistake. They've done something wrong. They've fallen off the path. And I'm sure you have too. But what makes those people exceptional, what separates those people from everyone else, is when they make a mistake, when they make an error, when they do something wrong, they recognize that they did it, they admit that they did it, and they get back on the right path.
When you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Recall the passion that ignited your journey, the dreams that fuel your ambition. Success is not reserved for the chosen few. It's for those who are relentless, who persevere despite the odds, who refuse to accept defeat. Look at the great achievers in history, from athletes who have overcome injuries to win championships, to scientists who have defied conventional wisdom to make groundbreaking discoveries. Their common thread is not extraordinary talent, but extraordinary perseverance. You are capable of achieving greatness. The road may be long and the challenges may be many, but your determination can conquer them all. Embrace the difficulties, for they are the fires that temper the steel of your spirit. Let every failure be a lesson, every setback a setup for a comeback, and every doubt a fuel for your drive. Believe in yourself, even when it seems no one else does. Trust that you have within you the strength, the courage, and the resilience to achieve your dreams. Remember that quitting is never an option. It's just a detour that leads you away from your destiny. So, stand tall in the face of adversity. Keep pushing, keep fighting, and never, ever give up. Your perseverance will pave the way to your success. Your journey may be tough, but the reward will be worth it. You are unstoppable. You are resilient.
you are destined for greatness.
You can change your life just by making the decision to do so. Make the choice to surround yourself with people who take action and set high standards. Choose to be better. The first step to changing your life starts with a single choice. Let that decision ignite a series of actions, each one a catalyst for massive transformation. In the simplicity of a single choice lies the potential to change your life. Make the right decision. Your future self is counting on you.
Happiness is not a byproduct of ease. Happiness is a byproduct of struggle, intensity, consistency, discipline, doing hard things on a regular basis. I've said this before, every single thing you want in life is on the other side of something that sucks, of hundreds of things that suck. So the willingness to endure that struggle every single day and understand that it's an act of service for your future self and for the future that you're trying to build, that is how you build durable, lasting, sustainable happiness.
In time, you will realize that everything unfolded exactly as it needed to. The timing of events, the doors that closed, and the ones that never opened were all part of a greater plan.
The tragedy, the moments of despair, the times in your life when it seemed like everything was against you. These are not happenings of mere coincidence. This is much more personal than that. You were under attack by an evil force that was sent to defeat you, to dishearten you, to strip you of your faith. What does that mean to you? That this force has inflicted harm upon you, like a middle school bully pushing their target to the ground. What will you do? Will you get back up? Will you push back? Or will you lie there on the floor to be mocked and pitied? But do not forget that you possess an energy far greater than any, as it is the origin of all that exists, including evil.
I just feel so angry all the time. And what if after everything that I've been through, something's gone wrong inside me? What if I'm becoming bad?
I want you to listen to me very carefully, Harry. You're not a bad person. You're a very good person who bad things have happened to. You understand? Besides, the world isn't split into good people and Death Eaters. We've all got both light and dark inside us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. That's who we really are.
Blaming the world will not heal the wounds within. And I know that the world has given you these wounds. And I understand anger, and I don't think anger is a bad thing. You have to take the responsibility out of the world's hands and put it into your hands.
At some point, you gotta decide for yourself who you wanna be. Can't let nobody make that decision for you.
When we were kids, my mom hung a poster over our bed. It had a picture of a bumblebee, and under the picture, the caption read, "According to all aerodynamic laws, the bumblebee cannot fly because its body weight is not in the right proportion to its wingspan. But ignoring these laws, the bee flies anyway."
I have run every single morning of my life since I was 17, and my God, have there been a lot of mornings that have meant a lot more to me than just a run. If I'm honest, I define the last 6.5 years by loneliness and misunderstanding, but through every bit of that pain, I never once skipped a beat in being there for myself. People wonder why self-hatred and doubt is completely absent from my life. And it's because on the hundreds of days where I thought I couldn't take it anymore, when I felt like either my body or my soul was completely broken, I picked myself up and proved it wrong once again. So I don't know if my life is for everyone, but if you want to know how to love yourself, I sure have found a way.
Be careful what greatness brings you. But let me tell you, once you get a taste of it, you'll never go back. I love individuals that talk about they have a certain lifestyle, they have a certain things to do. Oh, I don't need all this. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Trust me. But you get used to certain things. And when it goes away, you're like, yeah, this don't feel right. It's easy to say that until you're put into that situation.
Don't get overwhelmed when life is like a bunch of crazy wild horses out there in the big pasture and you can't catch the herd. You can't catch life. Stop focusing on catching life, on getting a handle on life. All right, start focusing on one aspect of it and get a handle on that. And usually that's you. Usually that's you. And then if you get a handle on you, then you can start the next one, whatever it may be. Okay?
To get anywhere in life, you have to work extremely hard and you have to be disciplined. If you wanted to be a great piano player, there's no drug you can take, there's no self-help book, there's no guru. You got to spend 5 years, 10 years learning it until it becomes something that's second nature. There are no shortcuts. But if you learn that from an early age, like 10 years old or whatever, you see after a few years that an incredible pleasure happens where now you have mastery of this piano and you can play things you could never play before. Suddenly the whole thing opens up, this whole new universe. And that's the paradigm for everything meaningful in life. If you learn something well, if you learn a craft and you master it, it can bring you a far greater pleasure than any kind of drug or any kind of going out to a party or socializing. But you have to be patient and you have to not be afraid of boredom and you have to not be afraid of the effort.
But I know now I gotta work the system harder than it's working me. That's what you gotta do. The system is designed to swallow you whole. You gotta find out what you do better than anybody else and rock that. So what you gonna do? How you gonna leave your mark?
I'm realizing that if you don't want to repeat the past, the only way is to be present. I think that a lot of us get caught up in the certain loops of our past or the certain things that identify us with our past versions of ourselves. And I think if we want to become something new, if we want to change for the better, it's about instilling that into the now.
Focus on taking the first step. You know, when you get so caught up in where you want to be and how far away it seems, sometimes you could quit before you even get started. You know, so whether that's making changes within yourself, whether that's letting go, whether that's becoming the best version of yourself, understand that all of those things take time. All those things take a process. They don't happen overnight. But the only way you'll be able to get there is from your willingness to be able to figure it out. Your willingness to go through the journey. Your determination to, you know, understand that on the other side of all your hard work, all your effort, all the, you know, mistakes, challenges and hurdles you might have to overcome is that better that you're looking for. You know, sometimes you don't realize how strong you really are and how much you're really capable of until you start taking the steps to actually find out.
In order for something new to come, something old must go. And that old can sometimes mean let go of what you know until now. Empty the cup. Start from the beginning.
Do you run away from something? Do you run towards something? Failure is a compelling protagonist towards achieving your goals. Use failure. Be scared. Be very scared of failure. And you will succeed. There is no magic pill.
One day or day one?
Keep that in your mind. Keep that in your mind if you've been slacking on some kind of something that you want to start doing, and that you know is going to be good for you if you do start.
In your life, in any given moment, the strongest dream in that moment wins that moment. I am a very powerful dreamer.
If you want to attract what you want, you've got to see yourself already with it. You've got to understand that you've already got it. Use your imagination, see yourself already in possession of the good you desire. That will flip your mind onto a specific frequency. It's on that frequency that good you desire is going to start coming toward you, and you will start moving toward it. You've got to see yourself now already with it. And know it's only a period of time until you moving toward it and it moving toward you, and you become one with it.
Someone will save you, but it's you. Future you, the better you. The person that you've been waiting to become.
When you make up your mind to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past, all you have to do is make a decision. And you just got to have a clear intent on what you want. And so learn, study, and then begin to dream or begin to build a model of what it could look like, and don't let go of it. And begin to experience the emotions of how you feel when it happens.
The heart of confidence is action. It's the willingness to try. And all you need is to know that if you try, you're not going to die. You're just going to learn something. And when you learn something, it removes a little bit of the insecurity so that it makes it slightly easier to try again.
Projecting yourself forward to see what are the consequences of failing, what are the consequences of stopping, is about as powerful of a motivation strategy as I can think of, you know? Because what you're doing is you're trying to optimize right now to stop the discomfort, but what you're going to pay for that in is shame and guilt and regret long term. So what you need to be able to do is bundle all of that up that is as yet unfelt, but will last for way, way, way longer. You know, the future is much longer than now. That's right. The future is going to extend out up until the day that you die, and the now is just for now. And you get to look back, and do you look back with pride and glory, or do you look back with shame and guilt?
When you don't feel like doing something, like, you do it anyway. You do it because you have to, and you have to do it for your future self. You know, you have to look back, you have to look at yourself in 5, 6, 7 years and be the person that you would want to look back and be proud of, because now what you're doing your future self a favor.
This isn't a game. This is your life. Wake up. It's time to make your life into a highlight reel. You're the main character, not anybody else. Stop thinking this world is against you. You're in control. You get to choose what happens next. The wait is over, because the time is now.
You go higher, you go even more alone. Why? Because nobody is willing anymore to invest their energy in going higher, because it's becoming more difficult. They say, oh, it's already okay here. Why you still want to move up there? The air is getting thinner over there. So that means along this way, the higher you want to go, the more likely you're gonna walk alone. This is the next thing.
You have no fucking idea how great you really are, because you are using such minimal of what you have. Everybody has the ability to do it, but they just don't want to. There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. The problem is you, and you don't want to fix it.
The hardships, the losses, they make the good times way better.
First of all, everybody, you're never starting over. You're always starting from experience. This is so important for you to understand. Just because you got laid off, just because you've ended a relationship, you're not starting from scratch. You have all the experiences, good and bad, in your life that you can now use to reinvent and reimagine what the next chapter of your life looks like next.
What are you gonna do? How bad do you want it?
What are you willing to sacrifice, and what are you willing to give up to find every bit of who you are as a human being?
Delusion is only delusional when you don't accomplish the goal of making your delusions a reality.
Losers let it happen. Winners make it happen. Losers see thunderstorms. Winners see rainbows. Losers see icy streets. Winners put on their ice skates. Losers take chances. Winners make choices. It's all in the way you choose to think.
The most important thing in business is honesty, integrity, hard work, family, never forgetting where we came from. So you are what you are in this world. That's either one or two things. Either you're somebody or you're nobody.
Small minds discuss other people. Good minds discuss events. Great minds discuss ideas. There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living. 40 years ago, March 27th, 1975, it was 40 years ago, I was flunking out of college. I had a 1.7 grade point average. I was sitting in my mother's beauty parlor, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I see behind me this woman under the dryer. She said, "Somebody give me a pen, give me a pencil, I have a prophecy." March 27, 1975, she said, "Boy, you are gonna travel the world and speak to millions of people." But that's not the most important thing, the success that I had. The most important thing is that what she taught me and what she told me that day has stayed with me since. I've been protected, I've been directed, I've been corrected. I've kept God in my life and it's kept me humble. I didn't always stick with him, but he always stuck with me. You have these dreams. Dreams without goals remain dreams. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, minute by minute goals. Dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You will fail at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. Every day you have to plan. Plan to fail. We fail to plan. Hard work works. And in this text, tweet, twerk world that you've grown up in, remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done. Don't confuse movement with progress. So never give up. Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish. I ain't got to like you. Mr. Rand don't give me my money come payday cause he like me. He give it to me cause he owe me. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. True desire in the heart for anything good is God's proof to you sent beforehand to indicate that it's yours already. Now don't you go through life worrying about whether somebody like you or not. You best be making sure they're doing right by you. Because taking risk is not just about going for a job. It's also about knowing what you know and what you don't know. It's about being open to people and to ideas. And anything you want, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up. Because the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith that you have, that's what's going to define you.